happy. There we go. Hey, there we go. Recording's going. Okay. All right. Looks like everybody's coming in and getting settled in. And okay, I don't know about all of you. Well, a couple things. But however your Monday is going, okay, I saw this really great meme on Instagram that showed who remembers the scene from Dangerous Liaison where Glenn Close loses her absolute when she finds out that and she just like her makeup throws all over the place and it's on the thing it said, "Well, your Monday's like after New Year's." And that's what today's gonna be like. It's just like everybody who hasn't emailed me in 2 weeks decided to email me today.
Cool.
So it's been quite a Monday. And it's the anniversary of some weird thing that happened on January 6th. So, what can I say? It's just a weird I feel like New Year's was just last Wednesday, but swear to God, it feels like it was like a month ago.
Pretty deep in 2025.
I feel like I am deep into 2025. So,
I feel like I am not acclimated yet.
yeah. I
I was
mean,
off, I was off for a while, and that's why I think.
yeah, I took some time off and it was hard to like get kind of because we obviously are open in between the holidays. So it's like I kind of went back in to kind of like, get myself reacclimated and stuff. But today hit hard. It's
You
just
know, New
like,
York kind of closes down for that last week. So yeah, you're left alone for a while. But then the thing is, when you got to come back, you got to play catch up all the time.
oh, and
'Cause
it
that's the
was it
worst.
was I think they were just hitting send, send, send. I think it was just one of these. It was just a constant hit send.
They
So
all had emails scheduled. They all had scheduled the emails to come out at the same time, I'm sure.
Ex- exactly. So all good stuff, but it's just like, oh my God, hello, everybody. So last week, you guys, I don't know if you heard or saw, but Amanda and I flew solo last week. So, oh, I know what I forgot to do. I think I forgot to hold on, everybody. I know you're probably wanting to chat, and I forgot to turn the chat on. Oh, there you go, Amanda. Amanda, you and I were thinking the same thing. Both of us forgot to turn the chat on. So sorry about that if you're trying to talk to us. I'll try and see what's going on. But yeah, we flew solo last week. But we came here because really there were no new releases last week. So I just like previewed some 2025 stuff. I did nesting, Julia, and just some, favorites and things. So yeah, we had a bunch of good stuff going on. Thanks, Dee. And Julia, it's one of your books. I was looking through some old stuff and then we'll get started with the new stuff. But I know everybody on here wants to talk about sometimes like what are old books that maybe we haven't talked about or got passed up. An old Hachette titled The Snow Child by
Mm.
Ewan Ivey. And I don't know, I can't remember if I've talked about it here on Tea Time. Thanks, Darcy. We were trying to be on fire. I don't know if I've ever talked about The Snow Child on here, but if y'all haven't read this, and Darcy, I think you've read it because it was one of my favorites way, way back when. And it is, if you haven't read it, it's cold everywhere but probably Southern California. It's cold. It's just this the author I think was a bookseller up in Alaska and it takes place in Alaska. And so it's just that perfect winter time story. It's a little bit of a fairy tale. So anyways, if you're looking for a good one, The Snow Child. So that's my little thing. So it's gonna go Julia, Gabe, Andrea. And so let's start 2025 and Julia, take it away.
All right. I'm starting with a big one. Uh-oh. Where did
Oh,
my
here we go.
go? I'm starting with a big one. So this is from an author that hasn't put a book out since 2016, but the book he put out in 2016, a
Oh,
big, big, big deal.
you're talking about my
Um,
boyfriend here.
Adam Hazlitt. Yeah, his previous book was Imagine Me Gone, which was a favorite at Indies. And this new one, it comes out tomorrow. It's called Mothers and Sons. And it is phenomenal. And I think you can see, starred review and Publishers Weekly. It's on the Indie Next list. Kirkus starred review, Booklist starred review. We have just been getting great reception to this. And much like Imagine Me Gone, it's a familial story. It's about, if you can believe it, a mother and a son, but sort of an act of violence that happens when the son is younger, and really drives a wedge between these two people and how that happens, how they survive without each other, and then how they come back together. So much like Imagine Me Gone, there's going to be some tears. It's beautifully done. We've been talking in Hachette offices about, it's only a matter of time before Adam Hazlitt takes one of the big prizes. He was nominated, I believe, for the National Book Award for Imagine Me Gone. But definitely this one should be a contender as well. It is just a phenomenal book, and our first big literary output of the season. So
I didn't realize it was coming so soon because it's been on my stack and I haven't gotten to it. And
I know.
it's just like, oh shoot, I missed it. I missed it. So sorry about that. But I promise I will get to it because if you haven't read Imagine Me Gone, that is a must read. It is just one of those books that you have got to read. And I cannot wait for Mothers and Sons. So I'm sorry that I missed the boat on that one because his writing is just, I mean, it's just stupendous. Okay, and I didn't know, hold on, I didn't know that Ewan had I think I say her name wrong. But Diane's on here such that Ewan has a new book called Blackwoods Blue Sky. So I have to look for that. So thanks, Diane. Always love getting good recs. But I think it's Ewan. Ewan, Eowyn. I don't know how you say that.
It might be Owen. Who knows?
It could be Owen. I know it's a girl. I don't know.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right, Gabe. What you got?
Oh, came fast.
I know.
Ah. So I'm going to talk about a couple of books. Ingrained. I don't think I've spoken about this yet, but
Mm-mm.
I think I may have because I talked about it before. I actually sold this in when I was still working. It just seems like a long
Hey.
time ago. One of the books that I really, when you open up a book, like when I opened up Coast Road, and you just are like enveloped in this great language and in this great storytelling and these great characters. With Ingrained, you get the same kind of a feeling. It is a book, ostensibly, it's a memoir about a guy who is a woodworker. He is Scottish, and his father was an old school carpenter, woodworker, and continues to be. And he decided he took the family trade, and he was going to become like the designer carpenter. And he went to London, opened up his business, and it just didn't work out. So when the book opens up, he's just shutting down his business. He's telling his employees they got to go, and he moves back to his hometown and works with his dad. And his dad is a great character, and it's a lot of them one on one. It is also a lot of natural writing. When I read this, I read a lot of tree books for some reason, and I for some reason got started a long time ago reading a lot of the pastoral writings. They bring me some kind of solace, I think. I appreciate nature. And some of the writing here, when he's writing about the actual wood and the actual trees, it's really beautiful writing. That's when he's in his, and so yeah, it's a memoir, but really it's a book about nature. There's one of the early scenes, his father takes him to this place where this guy has interesting woods, old woods, recycled woods, old barns, things like that, and then rare species of woods, mangled and all kinds of things. And he gets in there and he just starts talking about what wood is, and the nature and the fiber, everything about wood and where it comes from. And it just, his descriptive writing is so great. But like when he's writing about the nature, it's really beautiful. And that's what the book is really about. So it may get lost in the category of memoir. It may get lost in the category of woodworking. If you read tree books, and tree books have been really popular lately,
Hmm.
you would absolutely have to read Ingrained. It is gives you a whole insight on trees themselves, as organisms and living and chopped. So there's a lot in this book. Plus the relationship father son stuff is really great. Really eloquent writing. It's a tender book. It is a manly book. I think it's a great recommend for of like Father's Day.
Hmm.
Um, if you have again like a naturalist in your life, somebody who reads nature books, this is right up their alley, right up your alley. And the writing is actually, and the writing is what kind of keeps you coming back to this. So I've gone on too long, but I really, um, it's a book that I just, from all perspectives, I thought was terrific.
Well, you've gone into long, but it sounds like a really great book. In fact, I just wrote it down because I have a friend of my daughter's, and she's not a friend, she's a family friend. She's very much into woodworking. I mean, she creates these beautiful, she has set up her whole garage with just like all kinds of different like tools and stuff. So I'm for sure buying this for her. Because it sounds like it would be a great book for her. So there you go. Thanks, Gabe. Okay, Andrea, what do you have for us for 2025?
Well, I just want to say I'm sorry that I've been gone so long. I missed everybody.
We missed you.
But one must do what one must do to just, get back into like a good headspace and some restorative downtime. It's key to that. And so I'm really glad I did. But happy to be back. And I wanted to talk about the trade paper edition of Wild Houses from one of the great up and coming young Irish writers, Colin Barrett. This is from Grove Press. This was longlisted for the 2024 Booker Prize. Sally Rooney loved it. She's got a quote there on the cover. A lot of great writers, Irish and otherwise, love his work. And this is basically, I talked about this in hardcover, but this is basically a harrowing and pressure-filled story that centers on a bunch of like a group of hapless young men who decide that they're going to kidnap somebody, and everything goes south from there. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a Coen Brothers like type tale of woe.
It's not Train Spotting, is it?
There are some Train Spotting-esque characters in this story. This town, it's a Irish town, down on its luck, and everybody in this story is down on their luck. The New Yorker wrote a really great little blurb that I should probably read to you just to give you a flavor, but it's a short, deftly written novel. The kidnapping serves as a binding device, bringing together a small, carefully drawn cast of characters under unusual high-pressure circumstances. The release of that pressure is sometimes violent, but it is also revelatory. And these folks all know each other from school days. So that also adds to it. I can really, this is pretty cinematic. I can see this, being picked up and made into a movie, or even like a limited series. I think like six episodes to really like tell this tale would be fantastic. But until that time, you've got Wild Houses in a trade paperback edition at $18. And this is the third book from Barrett. He had two collections of highly regarded and widely well-reviewed short stories before this. So Grove is really doing all they can to build him into one of their longtime house authors. So
Sounds great.
Came into the store the other day on Friday. I saw it getting ready to get put out. And I picked it up right away because that jacket is so great. I don't know how I missed it. I must have not been on when you presented it, or I must have dozed off or something.
Well, I should have sent you a copy of this because it's right up your alley.
It's totally up my alley.
Yeah.
I know. It sounds so good.
It sounds really good. Yeah, I just picked it up and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I thought the same thing. I read the bag flap, and then I started, of course, well, no one's looking. I started leafing through it. And I thought the same thing. I go, this would be a great. I could just visualize
Yeah.
the show, because I watch a lot of these Brit things, Slow Horses. It's like right up there with something like that. It would be a great,
Totally.
just from the quick
I think it would be fun to act in actually, just because it's
the characters.
got all the hallmarks of like just, great suspense, and a bunch of like insane characters.
Love it. I love my Irish author, so I'll have to like check that one out.
I'll be checking that. I'm gonna have to be picking that up.
All right, Gabe. Okay, Julia, what's next?
Right. Oops. Let's see. Can you see this before Elvis? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so my next one is Before Elvis, the African American musicians who made the king. I absolutely love a music book. And I particularly love a music book about the history of rock and roll because I love rock and roll. And this one I find particularly interesting. I'm sure I'm not alone, and I went through a really major Elvis Presley phase when I was a kid, and learning the behind the scenes of all of these great sort of Black musicians, Big Mama Thornton, a host of other people who made rock and roll music before Elvis sort of ran with it. And really, I mean, if we're going to be quite honest, stole a lot from these artists and ran with it. I think this is a great book for anyone who cares about the history of rock and music in general. It comes from our Da Capo Press, which is they just announced that they're doing a whole rebrand and they're going to start publishing a lot more books. And I can't say enough good things about Da Capo. When I was a bookseller, I was like a huge proponent of all their Da Capo titles. And so I'm very excited about that. But they have interviews with people like Bonnie Raitt, and Big Mama Thornton. They talk about, Little Junior Parker and Arthur Big Boy Crudup and all of these people who made this kind of music that Elvis then made very popular, particularly for a white audience. And so this is just a phenomenal work of both cultural writing and history and historical writing. And I can't say enough. It's really good. Yeah,
I like what Kim just said. I know. The audiobook with performances, please.
I know. We should have put out like a vinyl record with it or something.
Oh, that would have been so smart.
Yeah.
So it does handle the race, different issue. I mean,
it's a lot about race, and it's a lot about these musicians who, invented rock and roll in a lot of ways.
Right.
And they were Black musicians out of the South. And, how once a white musician was doing this music, then white radio stations would play him. And there was sort of a machine behind him in a way that there weren't behind the Black musicians. So, yeah.
There you go. But yep. I'm glad it covers all of it. Sounds like it covers the whole, you get the music, but you get the history behind it too.
Yeah.
Okay, Gabe, what you got?
And I will chime in. Da Capo is a really good music publisher. World War II books and music books. The thing is, they pick these smaller topics that a lot of people just sort of overlook. And sometimes they used to kind of publish these. They were considered small books, I think, but I forgot the publisher there, who was a really great guy. John, I can remember the publisher. And I don't know if he's still there, but he was a really interesting guy. But yeah, just grabbing stuff from all over the place. And my sister-in-law is a musicologist. That's the kind of book that she would be using or teaching. I think it's that kind of thing that's got some really good, the crossover, and putting the pieces of history together.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a lot of fun. And I'm going to share.
Real quickly, his name was John Radkowitz.
John Radkowitz. Thank you.
Yeah. pretty amazing eye,
Yeah,
acquisitional eye. I think he may have, I don't think he's there anymore.
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, but I worked with him when we distributed him back in the day, and always had, fascinating conversations with him.
Yeah, he was a really, really accessible guy, just very easygoing. I really liked him a lot. We had some dealings with Dick Capo. So I'm going to go into Forever Home by Graham Norton, who is, you know what? I get on my phone and when I'm bored and I get on Facebook or something and I find a Graham Norton link and then I just like go down the Graham Norton rabbit hole and watch like 4 or 5 of them. And some of them are long. But he cracks me up all the time. I watch this show every week religiously. I got a couple on the DVR still. So I'm a big fan of Graham Norton's. And Forever Home is his latest novel. It comes out. I jumped the gun. I thought it had already come out, but it goes on sale next Tuesday. I thought it was this Tuesday.
Is it paperback though?
This is the paperback edition.
Yeah. Because I was like, because I think this has been on my list to read, and I actually bought it in hardcover, and it's like, okay, it's coming in paperback then.
It's
Okay.
coming around. And it's a twisty, fun, character-filled novel, which is what he does. It's heartwarming. It's not a perfect novel. I will just, I will lead with that maybe. But I liked it so much anyways. But I remember reading The Prince of Tides, a real majestic, big, epic literary novel that was reviewed everywhere, and it had a really lame tiger scene that didn't need to be in there. And you're just like, what the? Why is that scene there? And I don't recall doing anything but sort of cheapen the book. But I love that book. The writing is amazing, and I love that book. And this book, he just does a really good job with his great characters, down and out. It's a woman, 40-ish woman who's got a grown child, and she meets an older man, and they have a relationship. The story with the older man is that his wife had disappeared a long time ago, and so there's a lot of rumors and a lot of talk about what happened and what is she doing with this guy. And then he is about to be put in a home because his kids want the money they want to sell the house and get the money. They want to put him in a home, which here is really expensive. I guess in Ireland you can do it. And he seems to be losing mental competence and watching him decline. And then there's a caper thrown in at the end, which is kind of a weird twist and kind of disjointed maybe. But I think the overall novel makes up for that little kind of little detour that the book takes. So I'm still recommending it. I think in paperback, it's just fun. He's fun. I think it's a novel that you can curl up with, and you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to close it up. And you might say, yeah, it's not the most perfect novel I ever read, but you feel good after you read this. It's kind of like that, how he's got something. Graham Norton's got some kind of charm gift because he's been on the air for like a zillion years. Everybody from everywhere is on his shows, and you just look and like, what are they doing? And everybody wants to be on his show. He's always a blast, and that comes across in his writing very much so.
Yeah. And Dee said that he does the audio, which I think is fun.
Yes.
So that might be a way to consume it too, is that do Libro.fm and consume it with him. That would be fun. And let's face it, there are very few perfect novels, Gabe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I've read, it's like I always say, I read a bunch of frogs before I get that Prince.
No, you do. We do. I mean, the thing is, how many Anglo-Nigerian novels can you read? How many Middle Eastern novels written by a Frenchman or an American, whatever? We've read everything a million times over. It's we go into a bookstore and we're in there for 5 minutes and we got a stack of books, and you go in with your friends and they're just like, oh my God, so many books. And we're just like ready to check out because I got my stuff ready. And I got my stuff. But yeah, we read, there's a lot of, like you say, there's a lot of frogs in there.
There's a lot of frogs. But I mean, I wouldn't consider this frog. I would think it's just like, it sounds like it's a Graham Norton book. And so you know what you're getting. Exactly. You know what you're getting with a Graham Norton book. It's not like you're going to get high literature. You're going to get a good, fun story.
And that's the thing. I think he's sort of known for being, I don't know, somebody maybe called it unchallenging fiction, I think, something like that, but not in a bad way.
Not not in a mean way. No, it's just like, hey, and we all need that, as much as we need the highbrow literature,
Exactly.
Sometimes you just need to blow through a book. So
Just
I
blow
love it.
through, but take me away, put me in a
Yep.
little village somewhere.
Yep. Exactly. All right, Andrea, you're going to take us to some highbrow literature?
I'm going to take you to some
Hi,
poetry
some poetry. There we go.
from Kim Dower, Kim from LA.
Kim from LA.
Everybody knows Kim from LA in the book industry. And
Love her.
Yep, this is her fourth. Yes, I sat next to her at a party at the Soho House once, many moons ago, and drank really good champagne and had the most fabulous time. And so we've been friends since then, but it's nice that she's on the Red Hen press list now, so I get to sell her books, not just talk to her about books when we run into each other over, fine champagne. But this is her fourth volume of poetry from Red Hen and her sixth overall. And this is on the heels of her literarily and literary, excuse me, and commercial success. I wore this dress for you today, Mom. And so we're excited to see this out. That was up for a poetry award. She won the Independent Publisher Award back in, I can't remember, but she won that nice award in the Gold Award for Poetry in 2020. And then she was the City Poet Laureate of West Hollywood from 2016 to 2018. So accolades just sort of gravitate to Kim. I really like this cover, and I'm just going to give you a quote from a bookseller, one Julie Slavinsky.
Oh, who?
Yes.
Who would that be?
And she said, Kim Dower captures the timeless art of storytelling through verse with raw and unfiltered emotions, lyrical language, and vivid imagery. With every turn of the page, readers will find themselves drawn deeper into a world where words hold the power to inspire, delight, and transform. Holy cow, that's gorgeous.
Hey, wait, I'm patting myself on the back here.
And Julie will be talking about this book later because there's going to be an event at the end of the month for Kim, along with another poet, I believe.
Yep. And that cover, you're right, that cover is fantastic. But Kim does have a way of just she just like drills it in. She's really good.
Yep. And couldn't happen to a nicer person. So
yeah. And there was Amanda told me today, and because sometimes I read shelf awareness, I shouldn't admit this, sporadically. Sometimes, especially a day like today when it's like there was so much other email going on. But there's a great interview with Kim in Shelf Awareness. And she's been a fixture in LA for years, even before she was Kim from LA, with her own company. And she's hosted, she's has a lot of really interesting clients that she's had over the years.
Yeah. She can, I'm sure she can regale you with many, many tales.
I was going to say, she's got good stories if you find yourself able to have a glass of wine next to her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think she's one of those, like, I just read Paul Bogart's email today, too, or newsletter, and there's just some older people, and I shouldn't say older, but people have been in the industry a long time.
Some veterans.
Veterans, and some people that have been in the industry for some prior to some of the newer stuff, where like those old days were just pretty amazing.
We're fun.
Pretty amazing what happens back in the.
I don't think I recall a time before Kim. I think she's always been around since I've been in publishing. Kim's been around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she was with like Tarsher. Is it Tarsher?
Jamie Tarsher. Yeah.
Yeah. She was with him before she had her own thing. So she's I love her. Anyways.
Larry Flint. She was Larry Flint's publicist for a long time.
Yeah, and then there was somebody in the email, Tim O'Leary. Tim Leary. Yeah. So I think I think she said she lost him in New York. It sounds great. But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, Blas Falconer is who she's going to be with at the store. So if you're in San Diego, come and see her, come meet Kim. She's a hoot. Okay, Julia,
Kim
time
Dower's
for
the reson that I got to tour Spelling Manor at one point. So
really.
My God, that's a dream come true for you,
yeah.
darling.
Holy
Yeah, and
cow.
I'm as Andrew knows, I'm a huge 90210 fan. Like 90210 was a religion when I was younger.
So was it
And
just
so
as massive and crazy as it seems?
wild, wild. Not one, but two gift wrapping rooms.
I saw that on the TV.
That is
Okay.
so crazy. I attended a volleyball camp in high school, and Tori Spelling and all these little spelling ets um, were there, and that was a trip.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Oh
that.
my God. I love it. All right. Ti, what are
Okay.
we at? We're at lightning. We're at lightning round now.
Yeah. Lightning round. So my lightning round pick, I'm picking a kid's book this time because I love this book. And it comes out tomorrow as well. This is called Soy Sauce by Laura G. Lee. And it is such a delight of a book. It is literally about soy sauce. It's about how soy sauce is made, what it tastes like. It's about all the different kinds of soy sauce. So there's three different kinds: Chinese, Japanese, and Korean soy sauce. And what's super duper cool about this book is that all of these, you can see anything that's sort of painted in brown is painted with soy sauce.
Oh, no way.
Super cool. It goes into the history of soy sauce. It goes into what you use soy sauce on. It's just a super fun children's book about soy sauce. And it seems so simple, but honestly, it has brought me so much joy. It is an Kids Indie Next pick. It is just an absolute delight of a book. And going into Chinese New Year in the next few weeks, or the Lunar New Year, I thought it might be a fun one for people, but also I just love that she painted all these paintings with
That's so cool.
soy sauce.
I love that. And I don't know if you all know, but my husband is half Japanese. My mother-in-law is from Japan. And so New Year's Day specifically is a very big Japanese celebration. And so we have like a feast. I mean, I should show pictures of what the food looks like. So, and my granddaughters are three quarters. No, I guess they're half. They're like, I don't know. I can't get, I get mixed up on my math. That's why I'm a book person on what percentage of Japanese they are. So I have to buy this for them.
It's delightful.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's very delightful. And I just think, yeah, a good time. Even if you don't have kids to read
Right.
to necessarily, it's kind of a fun one to just have on the show.
Well, yeah, because I mean, we all go eat at Chinese, Japanese restaurants and soy sauce is sitting on the table. So,
it taught me things actually that I didn't know about soy sauce.
yeah,
So, yeah.
it's probably going to teach me things I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right, Gabe, lightning round. What do you got?
I got a taste for chow mein. I don't know
I
why.
know.
Okay, so I'm gonna finish off lightning wise very fast with Moomin. The Moomins have been around forever. They were introduced back like in the 40s. They're Finnish, Tova Jansson, and Tova Jansson's actually got a nice body of adult work that you should check out. There's a little book that we have on an island or something like that. She goes out to live in on an island up north in Finland, and other. She's got like 4 adult books. Good writing, fun, completely different, very Scandinavian. But Moomins is what she's known for, and this is a collection of I think like the first 4 Moomin books, cartoon books. They were introduced in the English language back in 1947 in a London publication. So they've been around, and they had a life, and then they disappeared, and then they've come back in a big way. The Canadian press that does a lot of graphic novels is doing a lot of the Moomin things. They're just everywhere. My wife Deborah grew up reading the Moomin. She grew up in London. She was born in London, grew up in London, so she had like original Moomin books. So this time when we were up in London a few months back, we had to go. There's a Moomin store in London that we had to go to. in Coventry Gardens, which was a madhouse, but fun. It's this tiny little hole in the wall, but it was super crowded, and people were there from like it. They're huge in Japan. They're huge everywhere. So it introduce something to introduce to the kids, something to introduce for the family. I think it's a fun gift. The Moomins have they actually made a Moomin of a movie of the first book recently that actually did pretty well, well reviewed, and I think it was like at Cannes or one of the big movie film festivals. But these are the first four books. I think it's a nice way to introduce your family to a whole new set of characters. We all grew up with, I grew up with Peanuts. We all grew up with something, but the Moomins are an interesting story. The characters have their own very distinct personalities, which are kind of familial tropes and stereotypes. And you'll see yourself or one of your relatives in this Moomin family of characters. And Pop Moomin is very cute, but just a little, something a little different.
I love it. I love it. We always have to have something a little different. Movement. I love the cover.
They're very.
Really cute.
I'd never heard of them. And Deborah's had a couple, and she like picked some up here and there. And then I don't know, 10 years ago, I walk into Elliott Bay and there's a whole display, and there's all kinds of merchandise and stuff. So, but a lot
Love
of
it.
books.
Well, Dee's on here. She says she loves Movement too. So kind of a fan.
She
We used
knows.
to do really well with those at Book Soup.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, they were big deal at Book Soup.
Big in
Love it.
Japan.
Love it. Oh, okay. Another thing I gotta write down. Okay, Andrea, take us home.
All right. Well, I'm going to do a YA book. And during the Christmas Crush, you may have missed Reese's book club announcement on December 10th, but this is the book, Throwback by Maureen Gu, who is a Southern California author. And this is fantastic. It's basically a contemporary teenager gets catapulted back to the 1990s and stuck there with her teenage mother.
I like the premise.
I love that.
It's totally fresh, funny. It's a great adventure story. It's full of humor and warmth and heart and what's not to love, really. It's a $16 paperback from Zando Young Readers, and I think that the cover is really good as well.
Yep.
So, but this is for really any young adult in your life, or if you're interested in young adult yourself, it's a good one to get. And we have hundreds of thousands of copies because of the Reese Book Club. So it will be available, and there's some in stock right now at Warwick's. And if there's a mad rush, never fear. We can get you we can reorder quickly.
Love it.
Yep.
That sounds really good. In fact, it's so funny because I saw one of the little reels or whatever was talking about there was a new American Girl doll release or category or whatever for historical figures from the 1990s.
That's
This
an
mom
historical
was like freaking out. She's like, I am not a historical figure, because she was like in her early 30s, and it's just like, wait a minute, what do you mean that the 90s are a historical figure?
I really feel like a geezer for sure now.
I saw a TikTok of a girl who bought a Juicy Couture jumpsuit and was like, "This is vintage from the early 2000s," and I was like, "I need to be put in a nursing home immediately. I cannot."
Like the definition of
Vintage
vintage,
Juicy Couture.
but the definition of vintage is like 25 years old, and it's just like that's the early two. It's like crazy, cuckoo crazy. All right. Oh God, Amanda. I'm not even repeating that.
I think you're all that in a bag of chips, Amanda.
Oh my God. It's so funny.
I don't even know. I can't even keep those sayings that we all had straight, because was it the 80s? Was it the 90s? Was it the aughts?
Right.
like Talk to the Hand or
Yeah. Well, and my thing too, though,
Bazaar.
I don't know about you guys, but like those early 2000s are a blur.
Blur.
That's just like it's all, and it's like when you think about it, it's like those 10 years were just like, I don't know.
We were
Might
raising
have been the
children.
fact.
That's why.
Yeah, I think that was why, because I had kids, so I was like a
You
little
had
sleep
kids. You're kind of
deprived.
high school
It's-
age, and
yeah, that's what they were. It was a little crazy those time. But
suck your life
anyways,
out of you. Suck the life
the
out of you.
night the 1990 exactly. It's like my brain. The 1990s historical figures. But that would be pretty funny to be back. Like I'm sure my daughters, there was no way they'd want to be back with me like in the 70s or 80s. It's just like
You wouldn't want them to. It's
Hey,
like what
Brendan.
stays in. What happened in PV stays in
woo,
PV.
stays and beings. Woo, woo. I love it. All right. Look, great to have all of you back. We have one event. If you're in San Diego, we have one event this week. It's down at Coronado, and it's called Postmortem. And I can't remember the name of the author, so Amanda, save me. Um, but it's about like I think it's a true crime about the remnants of the John Wayne Gacy murders. So, yeah. Anywho, that's hey,
Yeah, the author, her
she
mother
local?
was, yes, I think,
Okay.
yes, she's an instructor at UCSD.
Okay, got it.
And actually, her mother was friends with one of John Gacy's victims and actually helped find the evidence to apprehend him. So it's true crime, but it's a different way of writing true crime. And it's
Wow.
also about her being the daughter of someone who went through this. So it's a really interesting
Super
new,
interesting.
yeah. Here's the
Well,
link.
and that brings me to the Adam. Oh, not Adam. Who wrote Wolf at the Table? Adam Rapp.
Adam Rapp.
Adam Rapp.
Yeah.
So if you want a
Yeah.
novelized version of skirting that issue, or I should say, not skirting it, but sort of like reimagining that.
Yeah.
That's a
It,
great
I
book
mean,
too.
it's interesting. It's such an interesting case in certain ways um, because he was killing young men, and cops were so homophobic that it was like, they were basically like, what you guys do, we're not involved in. And like, that's why one of the main reasons he got away with what he was doing for so long.
For so long.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Especially
actually,
the two.
because he got away with it for so long, there's still people that they haven't
Oh,
identified from like the bones that were under his house. I mean, not to be
oh,
gross,
yeah,
but like they still haven't identified all of the victims. So I don't know, it's a
yeah,
fascinating case on, yeah.
yeah.
And-
So, anyways, I mean, it's going to be a hard time, but it's going to be a very interesting discussion. So, hope you can make it down to Coronado, and happy reading, everybody. I'm reading a new book called The Garden. It's coming out in February. I'll talk about that when it comes close. But with that, I guess we're ready to sign off. So happy reading and happy new year. And it's only Monday. We got a whole week ahead of us. You got something,
Oh,
Amanda?
I just noticed Gabe's sweatshirt. I really like it. It's the Borzoi, right?
Yeah, it's an old book soup. I think there's only a couple made. I don't know. Glenn and I
Wow.
know who have one of these.
Nice.
I got the
Okay,
Wow.
Amanda, you got to close us out. Otherwise, they'll just leave.
Y'all don't want to just stare at us?
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. Okay. Bye, everybody.
everybody.
Bye.